the 2-3 most effective self-leadership skills that you think would help us advance female leaders into the C-suite the more. So maybe Motola, you want to first have a first stab at this, and then Sarah will come after you.
Okay. Interesting question. And yes, I'm really excited that, I mean, the countries that have done a great job, some of the countries, I mean, there are also countries that are ruled by men that have also done well. But we shouldn't ignore the fact that a lot of the women have done a fantastic job, and we'll celebrate them. So in terms of self-leadership tips and increasing female leadership, I'll say, first of all, women should take spaces. And it's really about getting past the imposter syndrome is actually pretty real. And people don't, many people don't realize that. That sense sometimes like, can I do this? Am I able to achieve this? There are many people who go through it, both men and women, but it has been recorded that more women go through it. That sense of, am I able to be here? And the first thing for me has always been, look, the people who are doing it, they don't have two heads, you know, so I can do it too. And one of the things that I always do, individual as a person, whether in my teams or whatever organizations I go to, is to encourage women to speak up. That will be the second thing. First is take spaces. The second thing will be to speak up and insist on being heard. Because most times, I don't know whether it's because men have a stronger voice or something. You'll find that you're in a meeting, you've just said something 10 minutes ago, nobody heard it or nobody acted like it made sense. And then a guy says the same thing and, oh, they're like, oh, great idea. And I'm like, I just said that. You know, so it's not just speaking up, it's also insisting on being heard. The third thing for me would be around, which comes to the question that what was asked, is supporting policies that promote diversity. So, so for instance, at Upfield is a pretty young organization, and we're currently developing our diversity policy. And immediately I heard that that was happening. I mean, I jumped on the team to be a part of it, because it is those policies, like Sarah said, it is, you know, process. It's those policies that make a difference. When there are good policies that help women to be in the workplace, then we can get more women to go all the way to the top.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Yes, over to you, Sarah.
Sure. Motola, I actually have a hypothesis about men's voices. I when I'm in meetings, actually. I think the testosterone in man's voice, it increases the timbre. So when they speak, it's vibrating.
Yes.
I noticed that women who have more deeper testosterone voices, obvious equity, you know, because
you can't ignore them.
The testosterone is also increased. So their voices are not like this shrill, like, yeah, like, hello. And so
I hope I can contain what I have started here.
So that's actually my hypothesis. I keep testing it like, okay, this one's cool. I watch the room. So that's my hypothesis. I encourage you guys to be testing it. But honestly, Motola said a lot of the things I was going to say, and it's in different order, but the same thing. The first for me, though, is systemic. Akin, your question presupposed that it's something about how women are, that they're not the C-suite. And I want to just negate that question because I don't think it's about women's leadership. I think it's about the system. So when Black people who have been enslaved for 100 years, you know, are not making it up. Some people say, oh, what's wrong with Black people? It's not what's wrong with Black people. They don't have the systemic support that my grandfather passed me land, so now I can get a loan and I can get my children. They don't have that. They just have to start from scratch. So systemically, there are barriers that prevent women from making it so tough. It's perception. We have a lot of cultural, religious barriers in Nigeria where, oh, woman's place, you know, she shouldn't be, you know, when I moved to Nigeria, people will say, I have 2 of you at home, so don't tell me anything. Those kinds of ingrained perception about what a woman is, where she should be, that's a system barrier, because guess what? The man who's leading the organization, you don't know where his biases are. So he doesn't see you as being able to advance. So those systemic barriers we need to address, and there's no way of equalizing the playing field if we skirt over systemic issues. So that's why believe in like quota systems because it forces your hand. The thing that 100 years has given you, you've started late on the journey to move you up. And then at that point, when you have a quota, whether you sink or swim is up to you. You need to do yourself, but at least let the system be equalized. Motola said earlier, networking is super important. So reach out for people who know there's some external barriers that stop women and some internal barriers that we impose on ourselves that stop us. Give someone who has training wheels to say, you can do it. I mean, one of the things I say is, for politics, women are like, oh, I don't know if I can do it. Oh my goodness, my goodness. And when the woman gets there, she has to be 10 times better than men. I say, look at all the men, useless men that are there. I mean, not all of them are useless. But why can't some useless women be there too, so that we can just have useless people, and then over time we can filter. So don't be perfect before you get there. If you wait for perfection, you will never get there. And then the third thing I'll say is sponsoring women. So because there's a systemic barrier and there's internal and external, it's important for men and women to sponsor women.
Thank you so much. I'm not sure that I bargained for what I got, but thank you very much for what came back.
Aki, let me say this.
Okay.
I'm always careful to also raise a note of warning that as much as we want to ensure that women are empowered, we also need to be careful not to then make men less empowered as well. Because it's important that everyone brings their best to the table.